Hi, hello, I'm Courtney. Welcome to your first class of Yoga Foundations. This practice is really special for many different reasons, but for one reason it's really special is because it is a practice of constant beginnings. So whether you are a very new practitioner and this is your first time on the mat, or if this is something you've been doing for a while or even something you've been doing for a long time, every time we come to the mat, it's kind of like a new beginning. And this is really exemplified in the philosophy of yoga as well. So we have a compendium of yoga philosophy known as the Yoga Sutras. And the author of that is named Patanjali. However, the author is maybe one person or it's maybe many different people. There's a little bit of debate about that. But this was compiled sometime around the 3rd century BCE, so before the Common Era. And in it, it's made of 196 aphorisms or sutras, also known as threads. And these sutras are just kind of little things to think about. So they explain the practice of yoga from start to finish. And the first 2 Yoga Sutras really embody this beginner's mindset all the time. So the first one is Atta Yoga Nushasanam. And that means yoga is now. And then we move on to the next to further define the practice. Yoga is chittavritti nirodha, and that means that yoga is the cessation of the fluctuations of the mind. So I know for many of us, we really identify with this physical practice. And when we think of yoga, especially in the West and in our culture, we have come to identify it with the physical practice. And there's nothing wrong with that, but just know that it is also a larger practice. Also within the Yoga Sutras, and something that I find very foundational, I really think is quite very much the foundation of this practice, is known as the 8 limbs. So the 8 limbs are an outline of the path of practice. And these 8 limbs encompass kind of ethical, moral codes called the yamas and the niyamas. Physical practices called asana and pranayama. Asana is this kind of seat practice where we're working the body. Pranayama is the practice of breath. And then we have the more ephemeral practices of pratyahara, or drawing your senses inward. Dharana, which is developing concentration and focus. Dhyana, which is sustained meditation. And samadhi. So samadhi means to come to equanimity, right? Sama, as the prefix of that word, means equal or even. And dhi, is to see clearly. So to see clearly the evenness. And you'll find as we move through practice and as we move through these weeks that yoga is filled with many paradoxes. And that really makes it much more interesting. So in order to approach this practice, it's so important to bring with you kind of this questioning, curious mind, right? I'm not here to give you a ton of answers. I can help you with your practice and I can help guide you on the way, but this practice is inherently an individual pursuit of your own curiosity and your own willingness to explore these ideas for yourself and in real time. So to begin, I'm going to send some information out about the yamas and the niyamas, but just know that at the base of this practice, right, as we are developing the asana practice, as we are developing the pranayama practice or the breath practice, we are also looking to develop these ethical and moral codes of conduct. So these are things like not stealing, not lying, not grasping or hoarding, so trying to take what isn't yours or hold on to things too tightly. And also personal practices like cleanliness and discipline and learning to let go, right? These are all pretty familiar things, and most of us have developed a lot of these practices throughout life just because of the culture that we've lived in and because of the parents that we have, the communities we grow up in. So we're just looking to further refine those in this physical practice as well. And then later on in our more acutely mental practices like meditation. So why is it so easy to start here with the body, or why is it so common to start here in the body? And I really think it's because we identify with this body so much, right? This is what we look like. This is in a large part who we are. It's how we experience the world. It's how we move from point A to point B. And this body is really what houses all of the different sense doors that we have. So touch and smell and taste, sight and hearing. And those receptors are how we experience the life that we have and the life that we lead. It's how we interact with other people around us and the environment around us. So as we're moving through our asana practice and starting to develop pranayama a little bit here in these classes, just bear in mind, we're really looking to become more sensitive. We're looking to resensitize and to reawaken the body that we have. So we're going to begin, and what you need for today is a strap. You need a block, and then over here, my ball rolled away, but we're going to need some kind of ball like this too, which you can certainly use a tennis ball, you could use a lacrosse ball, anything that has, even a golf ball would work, although it's going to be pretty intense. But any kind of ball that you have that's relatively firm with a little bit of give to it. This is called a yoga tune-up ball. We use these a lot in my classes. But you can just place all of that stuff off to the side. Okay. And just like when we're building a house, we start from the ground up. So we start down at the foundation of the house. And for us, because we spend so much time standing upright and we're created to stand upright, we're really going to start with the feet. So let's just take a moment to look at the feet. Okay? So bring your foot in front of you. Take a look at the structure of the foot. So you can see that you have obviously 5 toes. You have this bridge of your foot. And then you have this nice landscape of the sole of the foot and the heel. So if you kind of flex your toes back or move them around, wiggle them, you can see that there are all these guy wires leading from the toe through the top of the foot. So those guy wires kind of show also the musculature of the foot. So we have muscles that run from each toe underneath the bone or along the bones. And then we have another layer of muscle that kind of creates the plantar fascia, right? And then we have another muscle, which is really interesting, that moves across from the base of the big toe all the way to the little toe, and that's called the transverse arch. The big sole of your foot is really known kind of as the main arch of the foot. And then you can bring your fingers over, find that inner edge. That's going to be called the medial arch. We have one more arch here, and it's known as the lateral arch, the outer edge arch. It's not super creative. But just notice how your foot is almost shaped kind of like a triangle. Okay? So I'm going to reference this a lot today in our class. So, and we'll go over this again on Sunday when I see you. But go ahead and find the base knuckle of the big toe and just give that a little press. And then find the base knuckle of the little toe, give that a little bit of press. And then find center of the heel. So just identifying that, just kind of feeling that. And we'll be working with the feet quite a bit today, really paying attention to them. And then as we move through, we'll kind of flow up the body through the torso. All right, so let's get started. Come onto your back. So just knees bent, feet to the floor. Feet are about hip distance, if not a little bit wider, it's great. And go ahead and rest your hands onto your body in any way that's comfortable. Let your eyes close. And we'll take a deep breath in through the nose. And open the mouth, exhale. Take another deep breath in. And open the mouth to release. Allow yourself to just feel what your natural breath pattern is. Okay, so you're observing your in-breath or the inhalation and noticing, do you breathe into the chest or the belly or the arms, the neck? Noticing the exhalation. You might notice the length of each in-breath and out-breath. Notice if one's longer or shorter. That's very non-judgmental. You're just kind of taking inventory of what's here right now. Again, it's a practice of beginnings. And then with your hands on your belly, gently draw your breath deeper into that belly. So feel the hands rise and fall with each in-breath and out-breath. One more like that. Take a nice deep breath into the low belly. And then we'll slide our hands across, so crossing the arms. Hold on to the side waist or the side ribs, kind of like you're giving yourself a hug. And take a couple of deep breaths. Try to direct your breath into your palms, into the side ribs. So we feel and experience the full three-dimensionality of your breath. Just here, just simply. And as you're ready, go ahead and rest your arms down by your sides. Now try to bring your breath into the back body. So as though you could breathe into the floor. Nice. And as you do that, feel how the navel gently rises and falls. Feel how the ribs expand and contract outward and contract inward. And so just one more breath here. And from here, go ahead and gently open your eyes if they're not already open. Good. Okay, and I'd like you just to sneak one of your hands underneath your low back. So feel that natural curve of your low back. It's going to be tempting to lift your navel up maybe to see what that feels like. See if you can do that without lifting the navel. And just notice your natural curvature of your back. And you can release your arms down by your sides. And a few times we'll inhale and rock the pelvis forward. So lift the navel towards the ceiling and arch the back. Then exhale as you try to flatten the back. So press it against the ground. And again, inhale, rock the navel towards the ceiling. This is moving the pelvis towards what's known as anterior tilt or a forward tilt. And then exhale, back goes to the ground. So kind of rocking the pelvis backward towards a posterior tilt. A couple more times, inhaling as you open, arch the back. Exhale as you round. Good. Inhaling to open. And exhale as you round. And once you come back to that neutral spine, go ahead and hug your knees towards your chest. Notice as you hug your knees towards your chest how the low back kind of flattens and smushes against the ground. You can hold on with your hands on your shins or you can wrap your arms, just depending on your proportions. Maybe give yourself just a little rock side to side. And then either with hands on shins or knees. A few times we'll do that same thing. So inhaling as you arch the back. And exhale as you draw the knees in and round the back, flatten the back. And a couple more times, inhale to arch, open up. And exhale as you round. And so inhaling, arching, knees move away quite naturally. Exhale as you draw knees in, round the spine. And we'll come back to neutral. And go ahead and release the feet to the ground. Super. Let's take our hands up to those hip points. So find those bony bits on the front edge of your pelvis. They're going to stick out just a little bit. So really the front of that bone that wraps from the back of the pelvis around to the front, like these really beautiful wings. So hold on to that. Okay, feet to the ground. And we're just going to let the right leg kind of flop to the right. And bring that leg back up through the center. Let the left leg flop to the left. And we'll come back through the center. Then one more time, let the right leg flop to the right. Try to keep that left hip point pointed up towards the ceiling, the back of the left hip on the ground. And as you're here, try to draw that outer right leg towards the floor, and you'll feel that outer right hip start to turn on a little bit. Right? The muscles are going to start to work. And then come all the way back to the center. We'll do the same thing on the left side, so let the left leg drop to the left. I'd keep the right hip point pointed up to the ceiling, so don't let it rock with you. Back of the right hip on the ground. And then just gently try to pull that outer left knee towards the floor, and you'll feel the muscles on the outer left hip starting to work and contract. And we'll inhale all the way back up through the center. Very nice. Go ahead and reach for your strap. And place the strap on your hands. Okay, I like to just hold it nice and wide. And we'll bring the right knee towards the chest. Place the strap around the ball of that right foot, so just below the toes. Okay. Lengthen your right leg up towards the ceiling. And then I really like to walk the hands up kind of as high as they can go and let the shoulders drop down. All right, so for some of us, like Cirque du Soleil style, drawing the leg back is going to feel fine. For a lot of others of us, right, try to pull the heel away until you can feel that natural curve in your low back return. Okay? We'll stay there, and just a few times, bend and re-straighten the right knee. So exhaling to bend, and as you inhale, re-straighten. Good, and your heel might be right above your hip. Your heel might be all the way out in front of you at an angle. It really doesn't matter. Right? I'm more concerned about maintaining and restoring spinal health than I am about how far you can bring your leg over your face. So next time that leg is straight, go ahead and keep it straight. So you still have the natural curve in the low back. Lengthen your left leg. Try to press your left foot towards the window so left toes are flexed. And then both sides of the strap are going to come into that right hand. If you're like me and practicing in your home, you've got stuff around. So one way or another, take your leg over to the right. Okay? Nice. And you'll notice immediately, as soon as we take that leg to the right, we try to crank that leg to the ground, the left hip point starts to pick up towards the ceiling, and the back of that left hip loses contact with the ground. So bring your left hand to the top of that left hip again. Reground the back of that hip, and let your right leg move to the right. And now you're feeling a nice stretch through the right inner thigh. As you draw that outer edge of your leg down towards the ground, feel the stuff on the outside of the leg contracting. Take one more deep breath right into the belly. And on your exhalation, one way or another, avoiding your furniture, come all the way back through the center. Bring both sides of the strap into the left hand. Take your right arm out to the side. And this time we'll exhale and take the leg just 10 or 20 degrees over to the left. And so back of right hip is still trying to reach down to the ground. Press your right foot into that strap. You can always bend and re-straighten a few times too if this is particularly sensitive. But just notice the sensation on the outer edge of that right leg. So from here, all of that stuff that was just contracting and working to take the leg over to the right is now stretching and lengthening here as you move across the midline of the body. Good. On your in-breath, we'll come all the way back through the center. Go ahead and bend the right knee. Release that strap, right foot to the floor. Good. Hug your left knee towards your chest. We'll move to the other side. Both sides of the strap around the ball of that left foot. Lengthen your foot up towards the sky. And then walk your hands up just enough so that your arms can be straight, the shoulders can be heavy, right? It feels a lot better than holding on down here and trying to really hug it in with the upper shoulders. Okay. And then let the heel move away from you enough that you can find that natural curve in your low back again. Okay. Your right foot can help you do that a little bit. So you'll notice one side is more or less flexible than the other. That's just the way we're built. Even as we move towards sama, or towards evenness, right? Samadhi. We're trying to find a little more balance in the body. So a few times, let's bend and re-straighten that left leg. So exhaling to bend and inhale to lengthen. Nice, just working on your breath. Nice. Once that left leg is straight again, go ahead and lengthen your right leg. All right, keep the right toes pointed up to the ceiling. Right hip rooting down, right thigh reaching down. Then both sides of the strap into that left hand. Okay, bring right hand to that right hip point again. On your exhalation, we'll take our leg over to the left. You'll notice the tendency for that right hip to want to move with you. Try and resist that. Back of the right hip to the ground. Right hip point pointed up to the ceiling. And now start to turn on the outer edge muscles of the leg. So the outer hip, right, working to take the leg to the left. I think it's really fun to discover new things about the body, even if new things about the body are just how the body works, right? How we move through space. On your in-breath, we'll come all the way back up through the center. Bring both sides of the strap into that right hand, and then left arm to the side. For now, we'll take the leg just 10 or 20 degrees across the body to the right. I really want you to feel all of that stuff that was just contracting, now starting to lengthen. So notice the sense of even sensation through the outer edge of the leg. You'll feel that this isn't just the outer hip, but it's also the outer thigh, the outer quad. For a lot of us, we feel this through the outer calf. You might even feel this through the outer ankle. Just being curious and noticing what you notice. And on your in-breath, we'll come all the way up through the center. Bend the knee, release that strap. Both feet to the ground. And we'll stretch the left arm long alongside the ear. So we'll notice in yoga, transitions are important too. So gently rotate to your left side. Use your right hand, and as smoothly as you can, as nicely as you can, come up to seated. And make your way onto hands and knees. And from hands and knees, we call this tabletop. Right? Bring wrists right underneath the shoulders. Bring the knees right underneath the hips. And a few times we'll do those spinal undulations here, now facing a different direction. As you exhale, round the spine. So press into hands, press into knees. On your in-breath, arch the back. Good. Opening the chest. Exhale as you round. So feel the pelvis tilt backwards. Inhale as you arch. And feeling pelvis tilt forward. Exhale, round. Feel the front hip points come closer towards those front ribs. And then inhale to arch. Nice. Hip points and ribs move farther apart. And come back to neutral. So find the space right in between those two. So you're not arching, you're not rounding. This is called neutral spine. Okay? Really easily, let's reach the right leg back. Tuck the toes under. And see if you can stay in that neutral spine. So you'll notice for a lot of us, we drop that outer right hip down, right? Or we even try to lift it up a little bit. Try to have your hips nice and level. And then we'll lift the right heel just in line with the hip. So feel the stuff on the back of the hip now starting to work, glutes and hamstrings. And as you exhale, bring right knee to the floor. A nice neutral spine, we'll step the left leg back. So toes tuck under, hips nice and level, spine nice and even, so neither tilting forward nor backward. And then we keep that and lift the left heel just in line with the hip. It's going to be really tempting to lift that heel higher, right? Higher, more isn't always better, and especially in yoga, we're looking for more refinement. So heel just in line with the hip, feel the stuff on the back of the leg turn on. And then exhale as you bring left knee to the floor. Good, lengthen right leg back. As you inhale, reach right leg high. This time we'll add the left arm, so reach left arm alongside the left ear. Exhale as you release hand and knee to the ground. Step left leg back. Lift the left heel up. And then reach right arm alongside the ear. So notice here, if you're starting to sag or overarch in the back, find that neutral spine by hugging the front ribs up and in. And then we'll exhale, bring left knee down, right hand down. Inhale, reach right leg, left arm. Exhale to release. Good. Inhale, reach left leg, right arm. Exhale to release. Notice if you're rocking or swaying side to side. Inhale as you lengthen. Right leg, left arm. See if you can find that midline so you're not sagging into the left hip. And then exhale. And reach left leg, right arm. Nice and long, supported from the center. Exhale to release. Good. Nice work. Take the knees wide. Settle the hips back, come into child's pose. So in child's pose, we just kind of take a moment to come back to breath. We take a moment to let the head drop. I really like to sway a little bit side to side. It's super calming for the nervous system, especially, just kind of trying new stuff, doing things in a new way can be a little jarring or a little bit exciting. On your in-breath, we'll come up to hands and knees. Super. Bring your knees back to hip distance, and we'll tuck the toes, right? We're getting ready for takeoff here, so spread all 10 of your fingers. See index fingers pointed towards the top edge of the mat, and then lift the knees. Slide your hips back. Good. And from here, we'll keep the knees bent as you reach those hips up and back. Start to lengthen the right heel down and back, so left knee is still deeply bent. Bend the right knee, lengthen the left heel down and back. Just opening through back of the legs a little bit. Then we'll bend both knees. Good, and can you find just a little sense of cat-cow? So for a lot of us, we have a very rounded spine in this pose. Okay, can you find a little sense of that cow pose, so that arching in the low back? Lift the sit bones up towards the ceiling. So you're going to feel effectively like those front hip points are moving away from the front ribs. Send the thighs up and back. Now reach both heels down and back. Take a deep breath in. Your knees could totally be bent. It doesn't matter. And as you exhale, bring the knees down. And settle the hips back and come to child's pose. And again, maybe rocking a little bit side to side. Maybe rolling the head side to side on your forehead. And on your in-breath, come back up to hands and knees. And again, we'll tuck the toes, reach the hips up and back, downward facing dog. And this time, walk your feet and your hands towards each other in the middle of the mat. Make sure you've got that ball handy and just place it on your mat. Then we'll come all the way up to stand. All right. And so I'm going to turn to face you. You can stand any way you want. Go ahead and take that ball underneath one of your feet. Okay. I'm standing with feet about hip distance apart and parallel. Right? I'm trying to stack my hips right above my heels. And then even though it's very tempting to look down to do this, try to keep your head right above your shoulders. That way, you're not creating any unnecessary neck strain. All right, let me show you from the side. So I've got the ball underneath the ball of the foot. My heel is touching the ground. Okay, I'm going to lift up all 5 toes and then gently just rock side to side across the ball. Okay. So if you have a smaller ball than this, you might actually end up rolling side to side. If your ball's a little bit bigger than this, you're going to have less motion, right? But a little bit more sensation. Okay, so as you rock side to side, this is across that transverse arch. And what we're doing here is we're really becoming more aware, so we're connecting the brain to the feet a little bit more, which is good, and remapping those muscular patterns for our brain. But we're also kind of rebuilding the trampoline and the suppleness of the feet through rolling. So this is a very, very good thing to do once, twice a week. Right? So a little roll side to side. Good. Once you've done that, pause, so heels still on the ground. Lift up all 5 of those toes, and then like you're kind of the hand from Adam's family, try to reach all 5 toes down. Yep, and you can see the spread across the top of the foot. So as you try to wrap your toes down, the foot will seem like it's getting a little bit broader. Good. Again, we'll lift up, spread all 5 toes, and then reach down. Nice. And from here, I'm going to have you bring that ball just behind the big toe mounts, that base knuckle of the big toe. And we'll roll from there towards the heel. So we're tracing that first metatarsal, that first big bone behind the big toe. And you can feel in this medial arch, sometimes there's some crunchy stuff there. That's okay, right? It does iron out a little bit. We're working with tissues of the body, and this is the web of the whole body, right? It's made of this amazing kind of aqueous fluid-like structure called fascia. And it can get a little bound up sometimes. So if you're feeling that, that's okay. It does smooth out. And it's just interesting, so be interested in it. Okay, bring that ball behind the second toe and give a few rolls forward and back. We'll bring it behind the third toe. Give a few rolls forward and back. So now kind of more in the center of that foot, center of the arch. So then behind the fourth toe. And behind the fifth toe, so now really on that lateral arch. Right? You might find something really nice anywhere in any of these areas. If you want to pause and go back, then feel free to do that, of course. All right. And then just a little free rolling. You might just kind of squiggle your foot like you're drawing something in with crayon. Good. And we'll take that ball and park it just in front of the heel. So you might have to take a step forward with your other foot. And a few times we'll bend that knee and just kind of drop down into the heel. And so this is where all of that webbing on the bottom of the foot joins and starts to create what is essentially the Achilles tendon and comes up the back of the heel. And once you've done that a few times, we'll step off. Take a moment and just notice the difference right and left between the foot you rolled and the foot you haven't rolled yet. Right? Does one feel more supple? Does it feel a little springier? That's the goal anyway. All right, so let's take our other foot, ball of that foot onto the ball. We'll rock side to side. And it's so tempting to look down, right? But it's fun to see those bones spread apart. And over time, you'll feel that they spread a little bit more if you do this work consistently. And that's going to give us a really nice platform to be able to walk and to be able to practice yoga, to do any of the things that we like to do, to run. So we're redeveloping, as I said before, we're redeveloping that kind of trampoline at the bottom of the feet. So introducing more spring, more lift, more bounce. And it's going to improve your balance, certainly. Okay. So still on that transverse arch, pause right in the middle, lift all 5 toes. And then as you exhale, try to keep those toes spread as you reach down through the tips of the toes. And just like your hand curling over that ball. Then we'll inhale to lift up. And again, spread all 5 toes, try to reach down. So we're really improving the dexterity of the feet. And then we'll release that. Park the ball right behind the big toe mound, and we'll roll on that medial arch, that inner arch. So again, just noticing on this side, right? Most of us have one arch that's a little more developed than the other, on our dominant foot. So notice if this is your dominant side or your not dominant side, how it feels, just what the difference is. Is it more crunchy? Is it a little more toned? Is it easier, more fluid feeling? And then we'll move behind the second toe, rolling along that part of the arch. A few times. Third toe. And fourth toe. And fifth toe. Feeling lateral arch here. Right. Okay, and next time that ball sort of naturally squiggles towards the middle, just do a few little free-form rolls. Right, so you're just kind of feeling what the whole sole of the foot feels like. Okay, and when the ball is right in front of that heel, you can go ahead and pause, maybe take a step forward with your other foot. And then a few times, if you want to, you can bend the knee, kind of press down. If for any reason this is just like challenging for balance right now, right? Feel free to go to a wall. You can always have your hand on a wall while you do this. Maybe it would have been helpful to say that at the beginning, but better late than never. Good. Nice. And then really simply, we'll just step off of that ball. Bring your feet hip distance and parallel, so see that the heels are right underneath the hips. See that all 10 toes are pointed forward. Can lift all 10 toes up. Try to spread them out and set them down. Nice. And then lift your head up. So you might even close the eyes unless balance is really challenging today, in which case just a nice soft gaze. But give yourself a little rock forward and back. So just feel your weight transfer from the heel towards the ball of the foot. Right? And then give yourself a little rock side to side. So feeling weight transfer on each foot from inside to outside. Are you still breathing? Nice. And then when we come back through the center again, just a little rock forward and back. And see if you can find that midline where you're neither pressing down through the heels nor you're pressing down through the ball of the foot, but it feels like you're standing really evenly between the big toe mound, the little toe mound, and the center of the heel. Right? So feel that trampoline of your arches lift up a little. Bring your hands to your hips, just find those front hip points. Good. And with the front hip points, very gently lift up. And as you do that, you'll feel the tail start to reach down. You'll feel the low belly engage a little bit. And as those front hip points lift up, really naturally lift the chest. Good. Broaden the collarbones. You can reach the arms down by your sides. Turn the palms forward so thumbs are out. And then very, very gently, so just working posture, move the base of the skull back. So move the whole head back, like you're almost trying to give yourself a double chin, right? Or feel what that feels like. Good, and then let there be a little bit of softness, a little bit of give. Can you find your breath in your belly? Can you find your breath through the side waist, through the ribs? Can you send your breath backward? And as though there's a line moving all the way up through the inner legs, right? Through the base of the pelvis, the center of the spine, through the crown of the head, can you feel yourself lift up? Just really gently. This pose is called Tadasana, or mountain pose. It's also called Samastitihi. So there's that sama word again. Equal standing pose or even standing pose. Right? So feel even, no weight too far forward, no weight too far back, no weight dropping to the sides or dropping into the middle. We're evenly balanced, present. We're here with breath, here with body. Good. Let's bring hands to your hips. So you can bend down, move that ball off to the side. Okay. I'm going to have you take a big step on your mat. So if you're standing towards the top edge of your mat, take a big step back with one of your feet. Okay. Good. So both sets of toes are pointed forward. Reach your arms out to the side and just see that your ankles are right about underneath your wrists. Okay, so everybody's a little bit different proportion, but this is a pretty good indication that you're in about the right spot. So it's a nice wide stance. Okay, and then hands to those hips again. We're going to learn the externally rotated family of poses today. Okay, so pivoting on the heel of that right foot, go ahead and turn your right toes to the right so they're facing the top edge of your mat. Pivot on the ball of that left foot and just push that heel back a little bit. Okay, and then notice you're about heel to heel. So if you were to draw a line, your front heel intersects with your back heel. You could also practice heel to arch, or you can go wider. So heel wider than heel, right? If you need a little more space for balance. So hands to those hips, find samastitihi through the upper body, right? So front ribs are hugging in, tail's reaching down, chest is lifting. Then a few times we'll exhale and bend that right knee. Good. So just take a look, right? So you can see I'm a little bit long actually right now. So I'm going to pull that heel back. So as I bend my knee and drop my thigh to parallel, my knee's right above my heel. Okay? And then inhale to lengthen. As you exhale, bend the knee. And see it tracking right over the heel so it's not dropping inside. And then inhale to lengthen. Okay, a couple more. Exhale, bend. Inhale, lengthen. Notice how the torso stays upright the whole time. Exhale to bend. And inhale, lengthen. Good. And then this time we'll exhale, bend the knee. Super. Notice where the weight is on your feet as we hold here. So press down, big toe mound, little toe mound, center of the heel on that right foot. As you press down through center of the heel, you'll feel hamstring and glute start to work. Send your knee over to the right. Feel the outer edge of that leg work. And then bring more attention to the back foot. So big toe mound, little toe mound, center of the heel on that left foot. Can you feel those working? Reach your arms wide. Good. So wrists are in line with the shoulders. Look towards that right hand. Take an in-breath here. And exhale completely. Nice. This is Warrior 2 or Virabhadrasana 2. On your in-breath, we'll lengthen that right leg. Hands to your hips. And then re-parallel the feet. Let's go to the other side. So turn on the heel. Left toes point to the left. Pivot on the ball of that right foot. Heel moves back just a little bit. And then chest stays parallel, more or less, to the side edge of the mat. On your exhalation, we'll bend that left knee. Good. Make any adjustments you need to, and then inhale to lengthen. Exhale as you bend the knee. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, bend the knee. Good. Chest stays upright the whole time. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale as you bend. Good. Inhale, lengthen. And exhale, bend the knee, pause. So as you drop the thigh to parallel, see the knee right above the heel. Use those outer hip muscles to pull the knee out. Press down, big toe mound, little toe mound, center of the heel. Feel the hamstring work. And then from here, we'll re-reach the arms. Bring a little more awareness to that right leg. Root down through that foot, 3 points of the foot. Turn to look at that left hand. And so you're pulling out through the fingers. Arms are super long, radiating outward, just like the limbs of yoga. And one more in-breath. Exhale. And we'll inhale, lengthen the leg. Hands to your hips. Re-parallel the feet. Good. Okay, so if you scoot it out a little bit, just bring your feet right underneath those wrists again. We're going to move right into Utthita Trikonasana, or extended triangle pose. So again, we'll rotate heel, turn the ball of the foot, turn the toes towards the right edge of your mat. Swing that left heel back just a little bit. Take your arms to the side. So just like Warrior 2. This time, We're going to bring hands to the hips, and we'll exhale and pivot right at that right hip point. And so you can move the hip back. Right leg stays totally straight. Inhale, lengthen the leg. Good. As you exhale, swing that right hip back. Inhale as you lengthen the leg. And one more time, exhale, pivoting at the right hip. Chest stays parallel to the side edge of the mat as best as it can. Good. And from here, we'll bring right hand to the shin. Or you can also bring right hand to the block, which is really probably my preference. So on any setting, tall, medium, or small. Good. And then from there, reach that top arm high. Good. Can you root down through the feet? So often, for most of us, we tend to put our weight into the ball of that right foot, press down through the heel just a little bit more to work that hamstring. Good. And you can look to see knee, ankle, toes are all pointed the same direction. If you see the outer edge of your right foot rooting down and the ball of your foot lifting up, press down through the big toe mound of that right foot a little bit more too. Good. Arms super straight, just like warrior two. And I'm going to hold on to this block with the right hand. Inhale as you come all the way up to stand. Good. Re-parallel the feet. Block into that left hand for a moment. And then we'll pivot on the feet. So left toes turn to the left. Pivot on the ball of that right foot. Pull the heel back. Okay. I'm going to place that block down just on the outer edge of the left foot. Take your arms wide just to kind of feel what this feels like. And then we'll exhale, hands to the hips. So both legs are nice and straight. On your exhalation, left hip reaches back. Good. You should feel a nice long waist through the right side. Inhale, root down through the feet, come up. Exhale as you tilt forward. Keep the chest, keep the belly looking to the side. Inhale as you come up. And last time, exhale, start to lean. Good. Find your prop. So on any setting, small, medium, or tall, doesn't matter. Reach that right arm high. And then let's feel the feet. So root down, big toe mound, little toe mound, center of the heel on that left foot, and especially press down through big toe mound and the center of the heel. With the right foot, especially press down through the outer edge of that foot, since we tend to collapse to the inner arch. Nice. And then we'll spiral, turning the chest just a little more to the side. Maybe turn to look up towards the ceiling or towards that top hand. This is Utthita Trikonasana, extended triangle pose. And then on your in-breath, we'll come all the way up to stand. Parallel the feet. And I'm still holding the block, but you can place it down. Hands to your hips, and then walk or hop feet together. Okay. So feet hip distance and parallel, come back to Samastitihi. Bring your arms down by your sides and just feel, again, a little rock forward, a little rock back. Your feet are kind of tired after that, right? It really does work the feet quite a bit. Little rock side to side, just like seaweed. Okay, and then find your plumb line again. So big toe mound, little toe mound, center of the heel rooting down. Lengthen the tail down. Lift up through the chest, hug the front ribs back. And arms down by your sides. This time, we'll inhale, reach the arms forward. And start to reach the arms up. And notice what happens as we reach the arms up. For a lot of us, the ribs start to move forward, right? The hips start to move back and we start to overarch. Find that neutral point where we still have the neutral curve of the low back. Arms are reaching, palms are spiraling towards each other. All right, take another breath here. Can you press down through the feet and pull up through the fingertips a little more? And then on your exhalation, arms by your sides. Samastitihi. So again, we'll take a big step out with both feet. Nice. Check your distance, just seeing wrists underneath those ankles. Hands to your hips. Pivot on the heel of that right foot, turn the toes to the right. And pivot on the ball of that left foot, heel to the left. I'm going to place that block inside of the right foot or just inside of the right ankle. Okay. This time, we're looking at a pose called Utthita Parshvakonasana. So this is almost like if Warrior Two and Utthita Trikonasana got together and had a baby. Right? This is how families work. And on your exhalation, bend that right knee. And see that right knee over that right ankle. Thigh more or less parallel to the ground or working towards it. Okay, we'll inhale, reach the arms wide. And then exhale, bring that right hand down to that block. All right, and I like the wrist right underneath the shoulder. Yep. Turn that left arm, and this time we'll swing it forward. So just like we did when we were standing, left arm alongside the left ear. Good. Notice if a lot of weight is on your right foot, try to bring a little more attention to your back leg. Big toe mound, little toe mound, center of the heel. Can you really gently try to pull those heels towards each other just a little to fire up in the midline of the body? Notice if you're really sending your ribs forward and gently come back to that neutral spine, so sama in the upper body. And on your in-breath, bring that block with you, press to your feet, come all the way back up to stand. Block into the left hand, re-parallel the feet, okay? Pivot on the ball or the heel of that left foot, turn the toes to the left. Ball of the right foot, turn the heel to the right just a little. Arms to the side. You can place that block inside of the left ankle. Good. On your exhalation, just bend that left knee. Super, so feel the outer left hip turn on, so it's keeping that left knee moving to the left. As you exhale, like triangle pose, pivot at that left hip, left hand to the block, wrist right underneath the shoulder, right arm high. Good. And then we'll start to extend the side, extended side angle by reaching that arm forward. Skim that arm alongside the water of the air. Reach the arm alongside the ear. Good. Take a couple of breaths here. I really like just looking forward. You can look down, you can look up. Nice. Do you still have sama through the torso? So is the left side of the waist just as long as the right side of the waist? And as you inhale, come all the way up to stand. Re-parallel the feet, hands to hips, hop or step, feet together. And block to the side. Just for a moment, bring your arms down by your sides, back to Samastitihi. Good, and let's bring our hands to the thighs. All right, so this is going to be pretty subtle, but I'm actually going to turn to the side so you can see. But again, rock weight forward and back. Rock weight a little side to side, find the center of the feet. Good. And then with your hands, very gently press the tops of the thighs back. So as you press tops of thighs back, you'll feel that the glutes kind of release and they lift a little away from the hamstrings. That's good. We have a tendency to kind of stand like this now. Right? So tops of thighs back, natural curve, neutral curve of the low back. Good. As the tops of the thighs root back, send your tail down just a little bit. In doing that, you'll feel the low belly turn on. You'll feel the front ribs start to hug in to support. Good. And then release the arms. Slide your head back. Good. Samastitihi. Awesome. And then maintaining that, come to balance on your right foot. So turn your left leg out from the hip. And just park that heel right above the ankle, inner ankle of that right side. Hands to your hips. Okay, a few times, we're going to do one of my favorite things, which I like to call sassy tree. So let that right hip drop to the right. Okay. Nothing else changes. I'm just sagging into the right hip. And then from that outer right hip, hug in. Good. A few more times, drop the hip to the right. And then from that outer right hip, hug in. And one more. And then hug it in. Good. So as outer hip hugs in, top of thigh reaches back. You can bring left foot to the calf. You could slide it up a little bit. Or you can reach down with your hand and help find it. Bring it to the inner thigh. Both are fine. Okay, so outer right hip is stabilizing by hugging in. Top of right thigh is rooting back. And then that outer left hip is trying to move the left knee back in space, right? Hip points are pointed forward. So we've done all of these things before. We're just kind of putting them together. Bring your hands down. And then you have options. You could bring hands to heart. I like a nice soft gaze down to the ground, helps with balance. You could take your arms out to the side, or if you like, you might reach your arms up, pulling up through the center. And this is Vrikshasana, tree pose. Notice the tendency to wobble side to side. It's actually very good for your standing leg foot. It means that it's getting stronger. The more you wobble, right? And the more you kind of self-correct, the more the brain has the opportunity to reconnect those neural patterns. And then exhale, we'll bring hands to the heart. Release the foot. Samastitihi. Awesome. Come to balance on your left foot, turn your right leg out from the hip, toes down, heel to the inner ankle. And with hands on hips, again, we're just gonna let the left hip sag to the left, and from that outer left hip, hug in. So a few times, we'll drop out and come in. And then last time, drop it out and hug it in. So keep that outer left hip engaged and hugging in, top of the left thigh reaching back. You can slide your right foot up to the inner calf, maybe towards the inner knee, maybe to the inner thigh, right? And then wherever you like to place your hands, place your hands. It's fine with me. And you'll notice it's easier to balance on one side than the other. So root down through big toe mound, little toe mound, center of the heel. Good. Outer left hip hugging in to stabilize. Outer right hip moving that right knee back. And then maybe arms go out, or maybe arms reach up. Nice. Finding samastitihi even in this asymmetrical pose. So can you feel the midline of the body? And you feel the evenness of the breath. Right? The relative evenness of mind. And on your exhalation, release your hands, and release your foot, samastitihi. Nice. So notice, did you have a lot of judgment about yourself in that standing pose? Was there a lot of chatter going on? Right? That's the chittavritti that we're talking about. So in practice, we're learning to quiet that a little bit. And mostly we're learning to see it. Right? It doesn't need to change. It naturally will on its own. Just by noticing. Okay. So with your hands, go ahead and come back, step at the back edge of your mat. Nice. So face towards the middle of the mat, standing at the back edge. We're going to inhale, reach the arms up. Good. So this is Urdhva Hastasana. On your exhalation, take the arms wide. Fold forward. Nice. You can bend the knees, let go of the neck, and give the shoulders a little roll. And then root through feet. Inhale, reach out and up. Lift the chest, look up. Exhale, back to samastitihi. Good. Inhale as you reach up. Sometimes a little forward's easier for shoulders. As you exhale, fold, Uttanasana. If you have no space, reach your arms forward or bring them to your heart. And root through the feet. Inhale as you rise up, lift the chest, look up. And then exhale, samastitihi. And we're going to add on just a little bit. Inhale as you reach up. Exhale, fold forward. This time, bring your fingertips to your shins. Inhale, lift halfway, lengthen the spine. Good. And see if you can find that neutral curve. So I'm supporting myself, hands either on knees is fine, or to shins, depending on your proportions. And do a little cat-cow here. So around the spine, and then arch the back. One more exhale around the spine. Then arch the back. Nice, find neutral. Reach the chest forward, look down. Move the back of your head up. So you're working those extensors of the neck. Now as you exhale, fold forward. Good. Uttanasana, nice forward fold. Super. From Uttanasana, Walk your hands forward, and we're just going to go really slowly. You can see my knees are bent too. So if your knees are bent, great. And at the point where the heels start to lift up, that's fine. Make your way to downward facing dog and take a look at your feet. So feel big toe mound, little toe mound, and center of the heel trying to root down. Even if those heels are lift up, center of the heels trying to root down. Right? Can you take another deep breath, bend your knees. Good, and then like you have your hands on tops of the thighs, inhale, send the tops of thighs back. Reach heels down and back. Good, one more in breath in downward facing dog. Exhale, open your mouth. Good, bring your knees down. Good, settle the hips back. Make your way to child's pose. Good, nice little rock side to side if that feels good to you. And on your in-breath, we'll come up to hands and knees. Good, swing your legs around. So come to sit on a hip, swing your legs around, and come all the way onto your back. And place your props off to the side. Good. So once you're on your back, pause here. Right. Knees bent, feet on the floor. We'll cross right ankle on top of the left knee. So flex your right foot, let that right knee fall away. Hug your left knee towards your chest. Hands behind the back of that left thigh. If you need a little more space, you can always take your strap and just extend your arms. That's really what straps do. Extend your arms, loop it behind that left leg, and just give yourself a little more room. You can also have left foot to the ground and very gently with the right hand, right, press that right knee away. So there's always some options. And I like to give a little rock side to side here. Again, like I said, it's just soothing. Maybe rock your head side to side. And on your exhalation, we'll bring left foot to the ground. Good. Bring your left hand on top of your right shin, just down towards that right ankle. If you can't quite get there yet, that's fine. And if you can't ever, that's okay too. Let the whole leg unit drop to the left. Then right arm can reach out to the right. Nice. Take a couple of deep breaths into that right belly. So it's just a pretty mild twist. At this point in practice, we've worked quite a bit and built a little heat. Right? Give yourself a little bit of time to just come down. Nice. And from here, release your left hand, unwind your legs, bring your legs back up to the center, and we'll take it to the other side. So left ankle on top of the right knee. Flex your left foot, hands behind the back of that right thigh, or maybe you've got a strap, or maybe your right foot's on the ground. And again, maybe dropping legs side to side or rocking head side to side. Part of our asana practice, or part of our physical practice in yoga, is not just toning and maintaining and supporting the physical body, but it's also toning the nervous system. So it's teaching it how to respond appropriately and effectively to the realities of life. Okay? We have a lot of things in life that tend to spike our adrenaline, that tend to act as stimulants. Right? We live in a fairly intense existence. And so learning to let your nervous system self-regulate, right? And to perceive the reality that you are not currently under threat is really part of our practice. We'll go ahead and release the right foot to the ground. And if you like, Right hand can hold on to that left ankle, left arm to the side, and then we'll exhale and drop all that stuff over to the right. Let's take a few deep breaths into the low belly. A few deep breaths into that low back. As you're ready, release your right hand, unwind your legs, bring your knees back up to the center. And one more time, we'll hug knees towards the chest. You are always welcome in any class to add anything that you need to drop anything that doesn't feel appropriate for your body. Right? So if there's anything else you need to do to feel really good here, take the time to do that. Otherwise, we'll release the feet to the ground and move into Shavasana, right? Or corpse pose. So lengthen out each leg. I like to pick up each leg once it's straight, gently press each heel a little farther away. And then pick up each shoulder, gently tuck each shoulder blade underneath. Pick up each arm, lengthen each arm farther away. I know it feels a little fussy, but it really does feel nice. You might pick up your head, lengthen back of the head, letting it drop, back of the neck nice and long. And we'll take a deep breath in through the nose. Open mouth, exhale. One more time, a deep breath in. And open mouth, exhale. Let yourself drop and be here, feeling the body heavy in the ground. Letting soft tissues drop. Letting the eyes release, letting the mouth release. Feeling the tongue fall away from the roof of the mouth. Let go of the throat. Let go of the shoulders. And feel the body rest, just for a couple of minutes. And gently begin to deepen your breath. Wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes. Lick your lips, swallow to clear your throat. We'll stretch our arms long, alongside the ears. Take a nice big stretch upside down on our backs. And then we'll exhale and just roll to one side in a way that's gentle and comfortable for you. Use that top hand to help press down. Leave the neck heavy, leave the head heavy, and come to a comfortable seat. And there's lots of different ways to close a practice. I really like to join palms to heart center. And bow the chin. And just take a moment to recognize all that our practice does. Simple things. Taking the time, feeling the body, feeling the breath. And just noticing the shift that evokes in us. And bring the hands to the forehead and gently bow. So you can lift up, release the arms. All right. So thank you so much for your practice. Thank you so much for taking the time. And I look forward to how this continues to build. Have a good day.